You're not.
No.
Pat Beckett?
Well, all my friends call me Beck, and you are...
Gene. Gene Rogers. I'm that blogger who's always reviewing your shows.
Oh, Gene, I didn't recognize your name there. Well, nice to meet you there.
Yeah, I've seen all your shows.
I know.
You're a legend in the community theater out here, and I love No Exit.
It's one I can relate to, a story I can relate to.
It's such an honor to meet you.
Yes. Well, okay.
Wait. I've always wondered, where do you get your ideas? I mean, how do you come up with the things that you want to direct?
I get my ideas from a lot of different places.
You know, that's interesting, because I have a few of my own.
You don't say.
Would you like to hear them?
I'm in a hurry.
No, please. I think highly of you. You've seen what I've written about your shows. It would really mean a lot to me to hear what you have to say. Please. Okay. I wasn't really prepared for this. Have you ever heard of a show called Hamilton?
I think I've heard of it before. Yeah. What have you got?
The founding fathers are all played by actors who are minorities.
Okay, that's right.
Here's my idea. We take August Wilson's Fences, but there's a twist.
Okay.
All the characters are played by African Americans.
Have you ever seen that? Or read the book? Or have any knowledge of its concept?
Yeah, it's the play about Mozart, right?
I don't think that it would have the same impact on the casting as it did with Hamilton. What else did you got?
Yeah, you're right. There's such a thing as being too progressive. Okay, I know you like musicals, and you know how there's a musical made of just about every movie ever? Okay, so we take the greatest movie ever made, and we turn it into a musical. Think about it. Jackass, a new musical.
You know, there's a saying, never work with children or animals. And I have one where, I just have this thing about actors chasing each other around on the stage with power tools. I know it sounds like a cliche, but safety first.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. Yeah. Someone could trip over one of the power cords. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so you don't like these two? I have one more for you, and I saved the best for last.
Great.
Have you ever heard of a playwright named Shakespeare.
I believe I heard the name once or twice when I was in college. Or maybe I heard of him. What do you got?
Well, he wrote all of his dialogue in iambic pentameter, and...
And before you say anything, I know what that is. What are you thinking of doing here?
Well, we go through all of his plays, we take out the iambic pentameter, and replace it with haiku. Now, people today have short attention spans, and this would really update Bill's work to an entirely new audience.
Sorry, did you just call Shakespeare Bill?
Yeah, that's his name, right? Or was it Freddie?
Never mind. Forget it. Go ahead.
Okay. Imagine. The play is the thing. We will catch the bad guy king. In the play, we do. Okay? How about this one? To be or not to? Yeah, that is a tough question. What the heck to do?
Look, I'm not one to discourage people from what they're doing, and I just don't think that coming up with theatrical ideas is your thing. You're a critic. You're a great writer. You have basic typing skills. I think you should stick with what you do best.
This might come as a surprise to you, but I don't have any background as a theater critic.
Really?
I went to business school, and that's what I really wanted to do. And I have a lot of innovative ideas for the marketplace. And I'm always looking for investors. Now, you know how we take so much for granted when we're driving, right? Well, we can tell how fast we're going, what gear we're in, what the temperature is outside, but what if you couldn't? Now, here's my idea. I'm looking for investors to finance my research into my first ever Braille dashboard.
I am Abraham Q. Jacobson, and at 9:17 this morning, I was brought into Holly Pavilion General by my wife. While I was alive, I considered myself to be fairly lucky. But upon entering the hospital that morning, I found that my 53 years of relative fortune had run out. And I know what you'd say. You'd say, 53, that's not old. And you know what I'd say? I'd say, I know, but someone has to die at 53 to bring down the life expectancy average.
He was coming back from getting A with pastrami on rye, his favorite, you know, when a brawl between a couple of nurses, a doctor, and a lab technician broke out over who could stand on one leg the longest.
Due to a series of events that are negligible here, but very well documented by Mr. Chayefsky, Mr. Jacobson's clock stopped at about 8:40 this evening.
But all that was only the beginning. Due to the incompetence of a drunk orderly, I was mislabeled as Ethel B. Goldenthwaite and sent to the operating room for an appendectomy.
In the meanwhile, I spent 3 hours 3 hours unconscious in the morgue, and 1 hour screaming bloody murder while an imposter was taken in to receive my procedure. My appendectomy.
Upon opening up Mr. Jacobson and seeing that he had already had his appendix removed, we spent 30 minutes looking for the missing appendix, and then the remaining 3.5 hours looking for the missing patient. When we heard the screaming from the morgue, we realized the error we had made.
Once I was properly placed in the morgue, I promptly spent 1 month there, when the door to my case became stuck closed. It took several days and numerous long-distance phone calls to determine the manufacturer of the malfunctioning case, and twice that time to have someone come out to amend the situation. The silver lining is I had already expired, because while alive, I suffered from severe claustrophobia.
Moreover, he would have died several times over given his length of entrapment in the morgue.
Once I was finally removed from my temporary tomb, I was brought to Miss Henrietta Toolsbury, undertaker and potato salad chef extraordinaire.
When I received the remains of Mr. Jacobson, the elevator to the morgue was broken, so we had to carry him up the stairs. Unfortunately, after a game of Chinese checkers, an intern had left a single marble on the stairs. So, when we went to carry him, and I tripped on that marble, down I went.
And down I went. I always thought it would be a paperwork mix-up that would send me into a rapid descent. I never realized it would be as a human toboggan. And I'd always loved sledding as a child, too.
Upon arriving at my funeral home with Mr. Jacobson, I had to wait 48 hours for him to thaw to the perfect temperature at which I could undertake my procedure. Get it? Undertake? I'm an undertaker. Forget it.
However, not even the undertaker was immune to my misfortune. Instead of utilizing formaldehyde, glutaraldehyde, methanol, and the usual chemicals of her profession, instead she embalmed me with
Lemon custard, blueberry wine, and my famous Salisbury potato salad. Such mistakes would have caused disastrous results at the Undertaker's picnic that same afternoon. We would have had to replace, half the Undertakers in 3 states that day. Having to replace them would have been a serious undertaking.
However, due in no small part to me, the events at the annual Undertaker's Picnic were well reported in the local press and shall not be repeated here.
After all this, it should be clear that the long-awaited funeral of the late Abraham Q. Jacobson was not intended to be an open casket affair.
Dude, and Mr. Jacobs out his viewing? I Got You, Man? You know that old Sonny and Cher song? You know that song? That played again, and 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 again, for 2 hours in the parlor. I know it's not really a chill song for a funeral, but you see, I was in charge of the music that day, and after having what I found out later was a real bad combination of cognac and spray cheese, I was incapacitated to provide more appropriate music for the dude.
When the 2 hours were over, the mourners were so anxious to bolt that they knocked over the casket, opening it and spilling its contents all over the place, infuriating and upsetting my wife, the widow Jacobson. However, the potato salad slicked the floor and made it a challenge for the pallbearers to put me back in my proper place. Once they had finally done so, I was placed in the hearse for my final drive. It seemed to be smooth sailing from here to eternity.
Or it would have been, until a pickup truck driven by an up-and-coming country singer crashed into them when her brakes stopped working. Now, she had just written a major hit about breaking up with her most recent boyfriend. Off the record, we're now in the process of questioning the ex-boyfriend for suspected brake code.
Similar to the events at the annual Undertaker's Picnic, this was well reported in both the local and several national tabloids, you know. They even put a picture of me and Abe at the funeral next to Prince Charles. Not that Prince Charles was at the funeral. His picture was just next to ours, you know what I mean?
The accident did further damage to my body and spread more of the potato salad remnants all over the place.
By the time the Jacobson clan had gotten that late patriarch to the cemetery, after a month in the morgue, and the embalming mess, and the car crash, and the police investigation, we were all so jangling that we simply toss the body in a hole, and be done with the whole damn affair.
But quite a few of the other relatives forced the mutinous sect back into line before I heard their murmurings. Here I thought they were just talking about the bits of potato salad still left on my dress.
This remained so until one of the straps lowering the coffin snapped, sending me teetering headfirst into the ground. At that moment, my dear wife stepped forward, pushing aside our 5 children, threw up her hands, and provided the final push to send my feet into the grave, where I have fortunately remained peacefully ever since.
Hello?
Madam, this is a courtesy call.
A courtesy call from whom, may I ask?
Oh, my dear lady, from whom is of no great importance.
Of no great importance. I beg your pardon.
Is of no great importance only in as far as all I am trying to do is sell you something that you definitely do not need, or even want for that matter, and would never buy in the normal course of events.
Wait a minute. Who the hell are you to tell me what I would or wouldn't buy or do? Are you some kind of mind reader or something?
Although I do have that particular talent in my repertoire, madam, with all due respect, I guarantee you would not be interested in the slightest.
You've got some nerve, you know that?
Well, yes, I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be calling and telling you up front what a lousy, obsolete product I'm trying to push off on you, would I?
What makes you think I don't want to buy what you're selling? I know, you read it on the internet. That's it. Don't lie to me, you tell me the truth. Did you or did you not read it on the internet?
I can see that it will be extremely difficult to pull any wool over your eyes, madam.
Well, that's the first sensible thing I've heard you say.
So yes, I do admit I read it on the internet. In fact, please don't hold this against me, madam, but I actually Googled it. Although, I must confess, somewhere deep down inside of me, the moment I heard your voice, I just knew that you were not the type of lady who would ever entertain the thought of buying such a ludicrous product.
Is that what you thought? Well, you're wrong. They're all wrong. That's what you get for the audacity of assuming. I'd like to be very frank with you for a moment, if I may.
Certainly, madam, I welcome it.
If you tell me what it is you're trying to sell me, I might, just might, consider purchasing it from you. Now, I couldn't be fairer than that, could I?
Oh, no, ma'am. In fact, if I may say so myself, you have gone above and beyond the line of duty in keeping this transaction alive. However, for principle's sake, and I am a man of principle, I must warn you
Must warn me about what?
that not only is it old-fashioned and useless, but it's also ridiculously overpriced.
Sir, I'll have you know I am not a woman without means. I insisted that my ex-husband make absolutely sure of that.
Well, that was very considerate of him, I'm sure, but please, madam, I don't think you fully comprehend. It's extremely overpriced.
I don't care how extremely overpriced it is.
It is outrageously expensive, to say the least.
Just tell me how much the damn thing is and I'll buy it.
You will?
Yes.
Splendid.
Now, to whom do I make the check out?
Oh, dear.
Oh dear. Oh dear what? I don't think I like the sound of that.
Madam, I've just checked my inventory, and I'm sorry to say,
What are you sorry to say?
the only one I have left is, well,
Well, what?
damaged.
Damaged.
Yes, damaged. I should have checked that one small detail before I called and wasted your valuable time. I'm wholeheartedly sorry. In fact, I never should have taken the liberty to call you in the first place. I'm ashamedly devastated, madam. I do apologize. I really don't know what else to say.
I think you've said quite enough already. Somehow I feel a bit cheated.
Oh, I assure you, madam, that was never my initial intention.
But, kind sir, as you put it so eloquently in such decorous terms, I personally do not see the need for you to agonize over this issue any longer. Your apology has been fully accepted.
Oh, I could not be more satisfied, madam, considering that our transaction started out on slightly shaky footing.
Not to worry. You've been most gracious, all things considered, of course.
Of course. Thank you, ma'am. And may I say that it is not every day that one gets to have a conversation with...
Yes.
If I may be so bold,
Do go on.
a lady in the truest sense of the word,
Thank you, sir. I shall take that as a compliment.
as it was well meant to be. I must now bid you good day, madam.
Good day to you, too. Hello?
Hello again.
Yes?
If by any chance I get another one by tomorrow, would you still be interested?
Bitch coming in our live. It's his ex-fiance. But you want to know something crazy?
Yeah.
Okay. So he said, oh, he loves her. He wants to be with her. He's never even talked on the phone with her. He's
Hey, I was watching that.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asleep.
Well, I was, but then you woke me up when you turned off my show.
Oh, well, let me fix that for you. What show were you watching?
I don't know, I was asleep. Did you not hear what I just said? What are you? One of those special people that rides on the little bus?
Excuse me?
Well, I know that some special people like to volunteer here sometimes. Makes them feel like they're nurses.
I would like to think that all people are special. But to answer your question, I am a volunteer, but I have no desire to be a nurse. They're both underpaid and overworked. I own and drive a nice mid-size hybrid, and I am a college graduate with my own business.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. It's just that I get grumpy sitting in this crappy room with that lumpy bed and this terrible chair, just eating the same bland food day after day. Ugh.
Well, would you like some soda crackers, or maybe some cookies? Having a copy of Life magazine?
No, that's all right. My wife usually brings me something. She knows how I feel about the food here.
I think everyone knows. So, your wife is coming to visit you today?
Yeah, she comes every day. She brings me flowers.
Oh, would you look at those poor things? Well, let me get them some water.
I think they're well past the point of water. They look...
Dead.
Shh! Don't just say the D word in a place like this. It's bad luck.
Well, would you like some silk flowers? No water required.